every time I've tackled climate change or climate crisis in my music, I've ended up writing music I wasn't sure I would ever write, right? So it's always been it's kind of leading me a direction. And so it's less, I would say, in a certain way, a less of a political statement that I'm making with these pieces, but more of just like a real, this is really personal to me. So I grew up in Reno, Nevada. My family on both sides are many generations of Nevadans, and so there was really no sense that this was special. And I didn't realize what a strange place it actually happens to be. And I'm really just talking about the physical place, right? It's this, what they call a high desert. So very, very dry weather. My parents' families are both in agriculture and ranching, and you need a lot of water to keep all those animals and crops alive. The elders, like my grandparents or even older generations, used to talk about how the winters were worse. There were big droughts in Nevada and California in the late 80s and 90s, and that's kind of when I first became aware of, and there was a lot of kind of genuine panic. Like, this is really different, this has really changed. The idea that the planet is this sort of perfectly stable object has never really been something that's the way I've thought about it. It seems like it's always in flux or in change, and it does definitely seem that that's accelerating. The first time I thought about articulating my feelings and thoughts about climate change was really kind of an invitation from my friend Cristian Măcelaru, the conductor, who had commissioned a piece called Melt. Very often when a commission arrives or when someone's asking you to write a piece, they don't really have anything particular in mind, but sometimes they do. And they said, if you have any thoughts on the environment you might want to put on paper, that would be welcome. And of course, my mind ran in 1,000 directions. My journey with Melt in terms of sort of trying to find the right way in was then I really started thinking specifically about glaciers, or they're a real telltale marker of what's going on. And so the glaciers were something I kind of started to, really try to meditate on. And then, of course, you can do the barest amount of research to find that they're absolutely in crisis. So that was sort of where I went with Melt. And then I think summer of 2020, California was getting ravaged by wildfires, summer wildfires. It happened to be raging in Santa Cruz County around the time when I was thinking about this companion piece to Melt, and I was thinking about the Cabrillo Music Festival and something I could make for them. So Sprout was actually something I wanted to make, something I wanted to do. I did think of it, quite originally as a companion piece to Melt that might approach this true sense of loss that, these were ancient redwood groves that had just completely been incinerated, and also be reminded immediately that there is this regrowth, right? There's the wildflowers coming back within a few months. So then you have these new stands of baby redwoods and baby sequoias that are, a year old that are already 10 feet tall. I think there are sort of greater forces at work, and that's comforting. On one hand, I realize there is nothing I can say musically or as an artist that's bound to change anyone's mind, but I can say it because I believe it. But it's also somehow cathartic to me. Has anyone ever solved a problem with with a quill and ink? But who's to stop us from trying, right? Somehow it feels cathartic, and somehow I feel better having expressed my own personal thoughts on it.